Hello, scholars. I will be talking to you about Lesson 3, Chapter 12 today. Our teaching point is, notice how characters repeat action and thought. You will need for our lesson a piece of paper, a writing utensil, your Charlie and the Chocolate Factory book, and a Post-it or anything you'll need to take jots. Our teaching point again is noticing how characters repeat action and thought. Have you noticed, scholars, in stories that you've read, how characters respond consistently to different situations because of their personality? In a show that I watched called The Dragon Prince, some of you may have watched it too, there is a character, the sorcerer, and I noticed how every time a certain problem confronted him, he responded in the same way. Every time he got power, he used dark magic. And it was this pattern that I started to see in the character that made me think, uh-oh, he's the bad guy in this story. So what characters' responses tell you can help you understand them as a character and their place in the story. So for example, let's think about Mr. Wonka. How does he respond to spies stealing his ideas? What does he do to share his factory with the world again? What does this teach you about him? Well, I know that he was creative. He found small people that no one has seen before to work in his factory. To share his factory, he thought of the golden ticket idea, which was kind of being a risk taker, since no one had done that before, and who knows who will win and how it will work out. So we see through his actions that he addresses problems as a risk taker and in a creative way. Next, scholars, we are going to set up our notes and begin reading Chapter 12 of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Before we begin, I would like you to focus and think about the following. How would you describe the characters? What have you learned about our main characters and the children that have won the golden tickets? Have you noticed that characters respond in a certain way, time after time? Please record your thinking on each character by preparing your notes as such. Get your blank paper and write the names of the main characters around the page. As I've written Grandpa Joe, Mr. Wonka, and Charlie. After, circle them and draw a line to write things you know about each character. So again, I've written the names, and then I start circling and writing what I've learned about how Charlie responds to problems. I know that he is principled and honest. Mr. Wonka is creative. What are some things you know about the characters? Please record on your notes before we begin reading. Scholars, please take your notes and leave a comment on Padlet to share your ideas with your class. We are going to begin reading Chapter 12, What It Said on the Golden Ticket. Charlie burst through the front door, shouting, "Mother, Mother, Mother!" Mrs. Bucket was in the old grandparents' room, serving them their evening soup. "Mother!" yelled Charlie, rushing in on them like a hurricane. Literary language. "Look, I've got it! Look, Mother, look! The last golden ticket! It's mine! I found some money in the street, and I bought 2 candy bars, and the second one had the golden ticket! And there were crowds of people all around me wanting to see it, and the shopkeeper rescued me, and I ran all the way home, and here I am! It's the 5th golden ticket, Mother, and I found it!" Mrs. Bucket simply stood and stared, while the 4 old grandparents, who were sitting up in bed balancing bowls of soup on their laps, all dropped their spoons with a clatter and froze against their pillows. For about 10 seconds there was absolute silence in the room. Nobody dared to speak or move. It was a magic moment. Then, very softly, Grandpa Joe said, "You're pulling our legs, Charlie, aren't you? You're having a little joke?" "I'm not!" cried Charlie, rushing up to the bed and holding out the large and beautiful golden ticket for him to see.